Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, April 30th, last day of April, and we're here again at the Monomoy High School construction site. And with me today is Kevin Dorr of Mount Vernon Group Architects and Jerry Albert from Skanska, our project manager for this project. And we're starting out outside. And what we're looking at today is the fact that the whole site is starting to make that transition from looking like a full-on construction site to where things are starting to get finished up outside, and it looks like we're going to start wrapping up. First thing I'll show you is, and a lot of people have been asking, there's one of these large pits out front on Oak Street, and here's one back on the south side, and there's one on the north side. And what these are areas where all of the runoff from the roofs and the roadways will drain into. This is a much cheaper way of handling it than having to build underground drainage structures. And this bowl will be vegetated, and we have one of the concrete trucks driving by, but and there'll be a series of plantings in here. Kevin, can you fill us in a little bit more on how
Yep.
these work?
Yep. What happens is we have several of these around the building, and each portion of the building plus the roads get drained into each one of these structures, and it's divided as such so that these are not too large. But what will happen is the water will get drained in here, and there's vegetation around the structure, trees, shrubs. So it sort of blends in into the site, as well as there is a fence around here that kind of blocks it off, so it you can't just easily walk in down there.
And the vegetation, in addition to making it look nicer
Yep.
than just a hole in the ground, also has the added benefit of providing some trapping of some of the sediments and all the chemical, odd stuff that washes off roadways and off the roof.
Correct. The trees and all the material. There's the area will be a certain amount of it will be wet, and the trees and vegetation have the benefit of absorbing that moisture.
Is this wildfire seed that's going in? This is a.
No, that's actually
Is that on the septic?
that's actually over at the septic system.
Okay, so the septic system cover will be in wildflower mix. This will be more brush and grass and
Correct.
whatnot. Okay. Other things that are happening outside behind me, as you can see, they're starting to put in all the curbing to define where the sidewalks and islands for the parking areas are going. Both here, out back with the student parking lot, and over the parking lot by White House Field. That's made a big leap forward, and but generally, it's starting to look like more of what it's going to look like when all's said and done. And with that, we'll walk around back and take a look, and then get inside the building. All right, here we are out back behind what's going to be the community entrance, and as you can see, they've pretty well gotten it buttoned up. The doors in place. These are the first of the sort of finished storefronts that we've seen. The glass up above. They still have some work to do. Detail up in the gable over the entrance, and they still have the yellow that'll be covered by I call it stucco, you call it
EFIS.
ephes finish up there. But it's pretty much, I think there isn't a whole lot left of the exterior to wrap up. Kevin?
That's correct. They're quickly coming to a conclusion on the exterior. You can see right around here they're starting to work around the perimeter of the building, getting all the curbs in, granite curbs around the building side, and starting to get the final grade up so they can do sidewalks and the plazas that we have located here and at the library.
Okay. And if we look back over in this direction, you can see the pile of the remaining curb work to do, but they've gotten a tremendous amount of it finished, and Some of the places that they haven't been able to get to are areas where they still have need to get some equipment in close to the building as they finish up some of the things. They don't get those high curbs in the way until they're done with that. Anyway, with that, we'll go inside and take a look at some of the finishings that's happened inside. Okay, we're over on the north side of the building, the side that looks out towards the athletic field. But what we're showing here is up under the eaves. They've finally gotten to the point of getting the ephes, the stucco material, in up under here. And if you look back down the end of the indentation here, you can see the flat wall where it's been done, and there's still the yellow on some flat wall that still has yet to be done. So you get a feel for what the difference in look is. Again, they finished up with some curbing, and then right behind us they have this trenching to run the electric for the lighting around, the exterior lighting, connect the wiring for that. And then overlooking down towards White House Field, we have the new parking lot. It's nearing completion. They're getting all of the curbing in there and the landscaping loam in on the inside of the curb, so they can start doing some of the landscaping and get some seeds to start taking before we hit the heat of summer. But as I said earlier, it's starting to look more and more like a finished product outside. So with that, we'll head inside and see how much of a finished product it's looking like inside. All right, here we are inside, up on the second floor in the sort of area overlooking the front entrance, and you get a view out to the existing high school, which soon will be gone. So this will look out over all the way out to Oak Street, over the lawn area, the front entrance way to the community center. But also in this front area, we can look up and get a sense of what some of the finished colors are. The blue paint on the air handling ducts, and the nice gray wall painting, wall color, and then below that little soffit detail, all the way down to the floor in the entranceway, it'll be a wood paneling material. Is it truly wood, or is it a?
Nope, it's a veneer laminate. And it's an engineered system, and there's not stainless steel, aluminum reveals between the panels.
Okay. So it'll have a much longer life without needing routine maintenance every year, or re-oiling and whatnot. All right. With that, I think we're just going to head down into some of the classroom areas and see how the finish work is progressing in there. And then move on to the public areas, the auditorium, gymnasium, cafeteria. All right, here we are in one of the classrooms. This is actually one of the double classrooms, which will get a movable divider in between the two. But as you can see, this is some of the first area that is getting the finished flooring down. In the classrooms, it's VCT, vinyl
composite tile.
It used to be VAT, vinyl asbestos tile, but we don't use asbestos anymore. But it's there, and we've got some different colors, a gray, a darker gray, and a blue to pick up the blue on the highlight color on the walls. All you can see, all the cabinetry's in. Finishing up installing some of the grills for the heaters that are in the wall behind the cabinets. And still have a little bit more of the ceiling panels to put in. They're waiting actually to fire up the electric service in the building so they can use some of the new lights and take down the construction lighting that is running throughout the building right now. And once that gets out of the way, then they can start closing in some of the ceiling area. So, Jerry, how long before we get the flooring done?
Oh, the flooring, actually, it just started yesterday. So they have four classrooms already done. They're prepping some other classrooms across the way here. And I would say this is going to be an ongoing thing for maybe the next couple of months. So there's a ton of flooring. There's a lot of footage in this building, as we all know. And Kevin can probably give you a little bit more on the permanent power that's going to be turned on shortly.
Okay, well, with the flooring, as we said, this is VCT in the classrooms. Out in the hallways, I understand, is going to be linoleum, or
Well, in this classroom wing, this is VCT as well. Other parts of the building, the main street, the hallway that runs all the way from the front of the building to the back of the building, that's linoleum. And then there's corridors that come off of that we also went with linoleum as well. And space like the cafeteria has the linoleum product there as well. But this classroom wing is strictly VCT primary.
okay. And then about the electric service?
Yep, the electric service, hopefully in the next week or two, we'll get that service turned on, and they'll be able to start powering up units throughout the building, mechanical units.
Okay, it's been actually interesting watching how they've handled the construction with the miles and miles of extension cords and temporary power cables that they've had to run throughout, and I think it'll be nice. They'll be glad to get a lot of that out of their way.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, we'll move along from here, like I said, down to the auditorium and the gymnasium and the cafeteria. Okay, we're now in the auditorium, the theater area, and they're making progress here. They've gotten the walls. Is that the finished color that's on the walls?
Yes, that is. But there's There's these large wood panels that cover most of the side walls.
And then on the floor over there, you can see these structures that they're mounting up in the ceiling. And these will provide the sort of the ceiling space and the sort of sound reflection for the auditorium. But they'll be, once lifted up, they're covered with sheetrock and painted a light color.
They are a light color, yes.
But everything up above them, as we can see, is painted black, so you won't have, when you're in watching production, you won't have some stray light flashes coming from up above. And then they're also, here on the stage, starting to bring in all the rigging for the curtains and the lights and all the things that happen on the stage. And we can hook this onto you and make you fly like Peter Pan, right? Is that part of it? You could try, okay. But this is making tremendous headway. I guess it'll start looking more and more like a theater when we finally get some seating located.
Yep, there's still the theaters are pretty complicated, especially if you zoom up, you can see everything that's going on in back of the house. But there's still a lot of work to be done, but they're making good progress. We got to put the rest of these clouds up. You have the way the design for the auditorium is, and you can kind of tell the acoustics even in this unfinished space, that when somebody's in the stage, although there's sound amplification built into the construction documents, the sound comes out, it hits these sidewalls, and then it gets pushed back of the space. And the clouds up above and the clouds up front help push that sound to the back of the space. And then along the back of the wall, you have acoustic panels that actually absorb the sound. So when the sound travels back there, it doesn't reflect back, so there's no echo. So in the back of the space, you have the sound-absorbing material.
That's great. I know they in our existing small little theater, they need to use amplification from time to time because some of our performers aren't that loud and forceful in their speaking, but just talking at a normal tone, you can hear it go all the way to the back of the space here. So it's going to be a wonderful place. I think we'll take a break and head on to the cafeteria. Just a quick stop here in the gymnasium. We haven't been in here for a while. The last couple times we've been here, it's looked like a warehouse, storage area. Excuse me. And a lot of that, there's still some storage in here, but less and less as things get completed around the building. All that material's moving out, but you get a sense of what it's going to look like. They have paint up on the walls, and the windows are in. I think last time they were still covered in just plastic. The heat registers, heat distribution, air conditioning distribution is in, and you get a sense of the openness it's going to be. I should probably have a basketball and we could do a tip-off here. So this is probably going to be one of the last spaces that gets finished because they need space to store things and put things together, and it's the biggest space in the building. But it's also, in terms of the summer when the move-in starts, there isn't a whole lot of tables and desks and chairs that need to come in here, so it can be left open.
Yeah, right now the activity, you can kind of see they've been using this as a place to store and stage, and they've got everything pushed over to the back of the wall. What's going on right now, the electricians in this side of the space, and they're getting ready to start do all the conduit that's going up on the roof and on the trusses up above for the power for the gym equipment and also the gym lighting.
Okay. But it'll be ready for tip-off in next September. All right. With that, we'll just step across the hallway and take a look at the cafeteria. Okay, to wrap up, we're here now inside the community entrance that we looked at from the outside earlier on, and you can see they've started getting things closed up here in the hallway, and also making progress in finishing up the cafeteria area. This was probably one of the hardest areas to get moving ahead, because it took the longest fighting with the winter weather to get the roof on it and get it to stop leaking. And it was looking pretty grim through January and February. Didn't know if we'd ever get the roof on, but now that it is, they're making great progress.
Yes, they have, Ed. They, as you all see, all this drywall is all finished. Where a couple of weeks ago we were down at bare studs, and then you see in the cafeteria they've already started their painting, their duct work, their electrical. They just really moved into this area, and they're going full force now.
Sure. And one thing, and as I understand it, up in the far end of this entryway, up high on the wall, will be the Monomoy logo, the M with the shark.
That's correct. Yep, at that back wall you could see it right there in that rectangle. The plan is to put the logo with the M and the shark wrapped around it.
Okay, and one of the things that I just noticed is no longer here is that big 6-inch temporary gas line is gone. We've gotten to the point where they no longer need to heat the building, and I can remember in the middle of January with all the temporary heaters, the dial on that thing was sucking gas like you couldn't believe.
Yes, they have, Ed. They just actually took the heat out this week, so it's only a couple of days without it. Just in the nick of time, the heat's coming back, so this building stayed to temperature, luckily, with the heat that we had in it, and now that we get in the 60-degree weather back, we should be all set.
Well, that's good. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap up this edition of the Monomoy High School building site. I'm Ed McManus.
Jerry Albert.
Kevin Dorr.
And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.